First topic. Let's go. Let's
Right.
get the show on the road.
Okay, so first topic today is dealing with the pressure in the salon. It comes from multiple places. It can come from lack of understanding, lack of education, things going on at home, things going on in the salon. So this is just some topics that we want to touch on that we've come across in our comment section, but also when we're on courses, a lot of people say, oh, the pressure of in the salon, like sometimes can't deal with it. I don't know if I want to stay in the industry. What's your take on it, mate?
Well, I think I don't want to talk about COVID, but post-COVID especially, I do think that there's been like a bit of a mental health issue with people. I think maybe people are shaken to the core more than they actually realised. And I think things get more difficult for people. Being locked up at home is not a great thing, I don't think. Being away from people, we're naturally sociable animals, aren't we? Humans, and I think that caused a lot of issues and anxieties. And then coming back to the cut and thrust of a salon, a busy salon, and dealing with clients, that's really, really difficult, I think. We forgot the pressures. Have you ever heard about the boiling frog thing?
No.
Yeah, really? Well, they say if
boiling frog.
Okay, they say if you've got a pan of boiling water and you throw a frog into it, don't do this at home, it's not very nice. But if you do, it would hit the water and bounce out, almost rebound out straight away because the water's so hot, its reflex is to jump. But if you took a pan of cold water,
I have heard this,
put the frog in it and you turn up the heat, then the frog will stay in there till eventually it boils to death.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of salon owners, stylists, assistants, everybody in salon life were pretty much boiling to death under the pressure, but they'd been in it so long that they didn't notice it. So when we had that time off and then we came back, the water was still boiling. So when we hit it, we just weren't prepared for that. And I think it took a big toll on a lot of people. And I think people's mental health struggled. And, having spent a lot of time on social media, to keep in touch with people and to link up with people during the pandemic, I think that then it became a lot of pressure on in the salon, how you then convey yourself on social media, and all those type of things became more pressure instead of making life easier, I suppose. That's my personal take on it. So it was a double-edged sword. So we put more pressure on ourselves, social media put more pressures on us, and we all felt we weren't doing enough. And I think that the water was boiling when we came back into it, and we just weren't prepared for it. So, and we weren't very kind to ourselves either. We had a lot of pressure from clients who were desperate for appointments. We wanted to make everybody happy. That's really difficult when they all wanted to get in to have their haircut and hair coloured. So I do think there's a lot of pressure, but that's all. We've got through that, and I think now, I think we talked about it earlier, whereas one of the things is pressure in education. And I think education has become a key area where it can make you or break you. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, education being, we were talking about it again earlier, it was about how clients come in with really, really high expectations. And I think that also follows on from when we were all locked down, that the expectation was very high because roots were bigger, highlights were grown out, colours were gone, and haircuts were sort of grown out. And we had to create, we were trying to make as much money as possible, but we've kept on that sort of rat race, we've been trying to fit everybody in and everything. But I do think when it comes to education, people either go on wrong courses or they're advised to go on wrong courses. So a lot of the courses that you see newly qualified hairdressers want to go on because they've just finished college is like creative or senior, whereas they need to go into fundamental foundation, and they think they need to go into senior courses to get that experience that seniors have got, but seniors have worked through that fundamental stage. And that's what I think a lot of straight out of college, definitely, like when I come straight out of college, I was addicted to like myhairdressers.com, YouTube. I was trying to learn as much as possible. And then it isn't until you find your feet a bit, you're like, oh my God, I need to step back a bit to go forward.
Yeah, I think I had one of these. I had a really high flying stylist who was like, had no fundamental sort of understand he could do anything creatively, but didn't have the fundamental stuff. And it took him so far. But at the end of the day, when he got to the level where he really wanted to be, he was almost exposed by his lack of fundamental skill. And especially when it came to haircutting, especially, so that was my thing really. And I was always saying to him, look, take some time out and just practice these things. Go back to basics, get these really ground up, because when you get to that level, you need to be able to, people will look at you and you'll be with your peer group, which then when you've grown with you, or you've gone on to a new peer group that have skills that you maybe don't have, and they'll notice you don't have them. So you become a bit exposed and you're a bit vulnerable then. So fundamental skills is always something that I help my team with a lot. And I revisit my own fundamental skills on a regular basis because they underpin everything I do. So there's that. And dealing with pressure in the salon, I think, is like, we have looked at our appointment system, for instance, how we can alleviate some of the pressures that the appointments put on. We look at how the team take their breaks, their holidays, make sure they have frequent holidays and taking time off. And now, without going into too much detail, we've condensed our weeks. So my team now only work a 4-day week. They have alternate weekends off because I want them to have a really good work-life balance. Yeah. And we have to measure things to make sure that works, and it is working. But the team are responsible ultimately for making it work. And they know what they need as a salon owner, and they need to know what their obligations are to maintain and working 4 days. They work condensed hours. They work 10-hour days basically for 4 days a week, and then they have alternate weekends off. And that's still pretty new in the industry, I think.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the whole 4-day, 3-day week, which is going off at the minute. I mean, we've seen this where salons have started closing on Saturdays. And there was a few near me that closed on Saturdays, and some of my old team that were with me, they were saying, "Oh God, we'd love to close on Saturdays," and blah blah blah. And it was a bit like, close on the busiest day. Saturday is still the busiest day, no matter when it says. Yeah, because like people walk in off the street. There's more people walking about because they're off work, and those salons that closed on Saturday they closed down.
Really?
Yeah, and you don't really hear much of it anymore. There was a lot of people in the industry sort of pushing it, and I don't hear of it anymore. It might just be an old thing. Yeah. But it's.
Yeah, I think that like my team, could we measure everything? But my salon manager, she's the one who floated the idea, and what she said to me was like, "Do you even know which is the busiest day of the week?" And I said, "Yeah, well, Saturday's going to be up there," and Saturday was our third busiest day.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, right. And it was like significantly behind the other two. Wednesdays and Fridays were our busiest days.
Yeah.
And Saturdays were only marginally busier than Thursdays.
Yeah.
And so she said, so why don't you let us work more on a Wednesday and a Friday? We can have a Saturday off.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's hard to actually say no then.
Yeah.
So she used a really good strategy to come to me with it. It wasn't just like, oh, this is what we want, and it was a demand. She came with a really good, thought-out plan, and then, we sat down and we kind of, and I said I did something with the Savvy Salon Club recently on YouTube, and I said, no, the industry is full of dogma, and we do things because that's how we've always done them, or that's how I did them when I was training, and so on. And actually, we need to revisit, how we educate. We got to be quicker with education. That has to include social media. That has to include, taking pictures and putting on, understanding your Instagram, understanding your Facebook, understanding Google, understanding, your back office of Google, and all those things. Now, I don't only know as a salon owner, but my team have to know as well. So it's a new way of educating, not just about hair. It's about hair as a 360 thing, as like a concept of how you present yourself, how you look at the behind the scenes, the front window of the salons, and how you project yourselves, and that all of the work you do behind. Because we started doing Google ads, we started doing ads on Instagram and those things, and we commit money to it. Some things work, some things don't, and we're still finding out that because we still got to do it. But I think they will. That's my job as a salon owner, is to take the pressure off the team for generating the income, to help them generate income. But by giving them a work-life balance of 4 days and every other weekend, they are responding really well to it, you know. So
Yeah.
I wanted them and their mental health to be good. So I know, and it's different from town to town, salon to salon. One size does not fit all, does it?
No, not at all. And watching that Savvy Salon Club, Savvy Salon Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it, and I took a bit of what you do, where you get your team to text you their totals, like the accountability of it all.
Yeah.
And my team, we started as of this month, so they text me on a Tuesday, and they'll text me there Tuesday to Tuesday, because I'm either traveling or I'm here. I can be working on. I've got time to go through it, and I took that as a massive plus. So, and I didn't use it as a way to sort of like belittle or anything. It's like, or to look at, like, to really inspect what they're doing. That's not what it's for. What I was doing with them and what I'm doing with them now is, when they text me their total, I just ask them a question. It's like, what could we do better next week? And what it is when I was building as a stylist, I was looking at ways that why is sort of like next week empty? So then I'd go back 5, 6, 7 weeks. I'd check my rebookings from that period. Yeah. And then we'd either give a complimentary call, or I'd get one of the assistants just to give them a call. Is the colour still good? Is the haircut still sitting right? And then it either reminds them to be like, oh God, yeah, I need to be in, or stuff like that. And one of my girls, Sophie, so she needed to hit her target for this week, and she was a little bit off of it. And I said, right, what can you do? What do you think you could work on? And she's great at upselling 4-step hair repair.
Right. Well, that's the best thing in the world. Yes, I'm with you on that.
So on Saturday, gave her the challenge of, last week I gave Emily the challenge of doing 3, and she smashed it. This week, I think Sophie did 5 on Saturday, but she just does every client. Amazing flying.
It's amazing, but also it gives you an opportunity. When my team send me their figures in, I get mine on Saturday or Friday evening or Saturday. If they're off on Saturday, I get a Friday evening. If they work Saturday, I'll get it Saturday. And it gives me the opportunity to congratulate them. Yeah. Say, hey, well done. Really proud of you. Well done. That's amazing. I knew you could do it. You know, we sat down and we've talked about those conversations beforehand. And when you see somebody achieve, then you have to congratulate them and say how well done it is, because that does take the pressure off them to know that you're recognizing what they're doing. They recognize themselves that there's that, you know, if they don't hit the target, they'll say, "Oh, sorry about that." Yeah, and I'm like, "Hey, that's fine. At least you recognize it, and thanks for recognizing it. And you know, I trust you'll make it better." And again, that's taking some pressure off them as well, and making things a little easier for them to perform, because like they know I've got their back, I know they've got my back, and so, you know, I'm not scolding them or giving them a row, but we sit down and we acknowledge where it is you are. You know, like if they do, I now got them looking on a Saturday or a Friday at their week coming, and then identifying in a diary in that particular day where they could see possible upsells. And I like them to identify at least one upsell a day. So, you know, 4 upsells a week, and that makes a massive difference. You got 6, 8 staff, 8 stylists upselling one a day. You know,
massive.
18 upsells a week. You know, you increasing your average bill, you're increasing the revenue in the salon. It makes such a big difference on everybody. And the more, I always say, the more that my team generate, the more I can give. And they, you know, like, so I do give incentives, I do give them gifts, and I do give them stuff, so they feel that they're being rewarded for what they're doing. And again, you know, it's about trying to help them have a low stress and low pressure creates higher figures. Do you know what I mean? That's in all industry. Low pressure, you know, a low pressure salesman would have higher sales than the high pressure salesman. And that's what we do is create a low pressure environment, so that then you can have a high yield or high sales. And that's how we can look at it.
And this is why we wanted to talk about this topic, because we've had a question come in: what targets do you set for your team for a 4-day week? And it will be different from salon to salon, from business to business.
But team member to team member. Because they're on a slide. My team members on different. they charge differently. It's a great question, actually. Thank you. But they charge. They've got a scale in the salon, so I've got 5 different levels in the salon, 5 different styles, and each level will have its own target for the stylist. So it can vary from stylists depending on what they're charging. The only thing that doesn't change is the rebooking rate, the retail sales, and the utilization. But the actual financial stuff changes from stylist to stylist, depending on what they charge.
And I think with just to summarize it all, like dealing with pressure in the salon, it's about having the team understand the business, understand the pressures that is on the salon owner as to what we can give. We would all want to give everything if we could, but without money coming in, the pressure is on.
Yeah.
And
I felt, I don't know, like lately I felt that, like before Christmas I felt that.
Yeah.
Knowing I had to pay my wages, pay my VAT, pay all my corporation tax. They were massive pressures.
Yeah.
And but the great thing about it is having a dialogue with the team and letting them know that they knew I was stressed. And saying, guys, I just need a little help here. And you know what? Every single one of them stepped up. And they all increased their sales, they all increased the retail, they all increased. And it was just like, it took so much pressure off me, but that's taken a long time to kind of have that relationship with them, where they trust them. And but there are all sorts of different pressures and way to deal with them. And I think that, I don't know if anybody else has that or how they deal with it in their salons, but I think that if you've been honest and upfront and you have good lines of communication in every respect, personal, on your one-to-ones, or one-to-ones can be like just put your hand on somebody's shoulder saying, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
That goes down a long way. Or if you know one of your team members is off, that they don't seem themselves. Is everything okay? Are you feeling all right? Do you need to speak to me? Can I help you? Those type of things. And actually, it comes back to me when they know I'm a bit stressed. Say, "Oh, you're a bit stressed today." "Oh, yeah." And I can say, "Oh, it's because of this." And they go, "Oh, okay. What do you need us to do to help?"
Yeah.
It's supporting each other, isn't it? And I think that's when you know you've got a real team, I think.
Well, it is. And that's it. Like, that's why we do employ. That's why we want to support people. We want the support back. Dealing with the pressure of the salon from a salon owner is what we've just spoken about. But with you guys, if you're stylists or anything like that, I think really get to know, like what Ian was just saying, get to know the business a bit more, but also the education side of things. For me, that's one thing that I've seen on courses that we've done. People get really the anxiety that comes with, "Oh my God, I've never done this hair trend before. I've never done this color technique before." So when you're not upskilling or uplearning, you're like every day, every week, however much you want to put into it, whatever you're going to put into it, it's going to benefit you anyway.
Yeah. I think that is it. I think especially like be specific about what you feel you need to learn.
Yeah.
And if you feel weak in one area, then go out and actually target that area, and it will give you relief. It will give you you might have a bit of pain along the way, but you will understand that once you've got the knowledge, and you become a bit more bulletproof, if you like, because you know what you need to know. And I think that goes a long way. So